great tech conference so far. Appreciate you all being here, and thanks for the Tyson crew. We have good representation today from the Tyson team. A pleasure for Balaji and I to be here. And let's just kick it off, Balaji. You've been in tech like 26 plus years. Recently moved to Northwest Arkansas from Canada. Moved your family down and brought the cold weather with you, right? Yeah, thanks for that. Just kidding. But how do you like NWA?
Well, I think I wouldn't be wrong in saying that this is the best place I've ever lived in. Yeah, so I think, look, I come at this from both a personal and a professional standpoint. I think on the personal side, it's a great place to live. On the professional side, I've been amazed by how much tech is really there, and frankly, how much of it Tyson is actually spearheading in the region. So we're here to talk about a few of those things, including what we're doing in AI and automation. Before we jump into that, Adam, you've been here a while too. I think you and I started around the same time here at Tyson Foods. You want to talk about what you think about the area?
Yeah. 5 years ago for me, I think just over that for you. Let's see if we can get our slides up here and we'll jump into it. Here we go. Awesome, I think we're working. So Tyson is an 88-year-old company, founded in 1933.
Is the clicker working?
Clicker's not working. That's technology for you. Here we go. There we go. The on button helps. Thank you. Yeah, founded in 1935, 88 years old. And we have some iconic brands, some that are well known in most households. Think about Hillshire, think about Jimmy Dean, and of course Tyson itself, and many others. $54 billion in revenue last year, and we have 140,000 team members, not only in the U.S., but around the world. And so we are an international operation with over 230 operational facilities, which includes our plants, but also our distribution centers and warehouses. So we really are a Fortune 100 company, one of two here in Northwest Arkansas. And you know, when you think 88 years, Balaji, people might think, yeah, you've probably got some pretty antiquated technology there at Tyson. What would you say to that?
Well, I want to answer that with a bit of a story. So I think it was 2018, I was at one of these big conferences, standing in line, and there was this individual behind me, and he said, which company do you work for? I said, I work for Tyson Foods, and he looked very surprised. He looked at me and said, what's a chicken company doing in a tech conference? And then I said something and just walked away. Fast forward to 2023, this year, I was at a conference talking again. I finished my speech and came back. Somebody pinged me on LinkedIn, and I just answered him. And he said, hey, I don't know if you recollect, I met you a few years ago at a conference. I had no idea Tyson is doing so much of deep tech work in AI and ML and automation and advanced analytics and data. So yes, I mean, we're not just an advanced company, we are a technically very, very advanced company. And as you'll see, we work on some of the most cutting edge tech, including AI and Gen AI and a few other areas. But I think the power of what we do is primarily our team members. We have 140,000 team members across the globe. You know, I think they keep us going every day through very tough times, including COVID. But do you want to talk through what the next...
yeah, let's talk about some specific use cases. Before we do, just one of the things that's critical for us in the IT space at Tyson is to make sure that we don't start with the technology. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of IT teams or automation teams can make in the corporate world is we get excited about some sort of technology and then we go and try to force fit it into the company. Go and hunt for a use case for a particular piece of technology, which if you've been down that road, and I'm sure many of you have, it's like pushing rope, right? It's difficult. Instead, we start with the business. We get to know our business partners. We understand their strategy, their desired outcomes, and how they return value to the company. And then with our technology hats on, we help translate that into the needed technology capabilities to make that vision a reality. And the tech you're going to see examples of today that we're going to speak to we did follow that very path. So we have to know about the tech. We have to be experts on what's available in the industry, and in some cases, we're pushing the envelope on technology at Tyson Foods. But it starts with knowing our business, knowing what they're trying to achieve, and then helping them make that a reality with tech, which means we can do it often faster, we can do it at scale, and it's more effective in the end. So let's talk about just a couple of use cases that we've been working on recently. One has to do with so this is computer vision and artificial intelligence, product identification. So one of our business partners came to us and said, hey, look, we have this huge manual operation in some of our plants where we're pre-labeling trays. We're applying a bottom label to trays. There's equipment involved, there is human labor involved, and those trays are being delivered by the thousands to production lines where they're going down the line. They're chaotic lines, so we have multiple products, different products on the line at the same time. Products being placed in them, the wrap is being placed on it, and then the customer label on top. It's highly manual, it's error prone because people can accidentally grab the wrong tray with the wrong label and then put product in it that doesn't match the label. And it was taking up a significant amount of space in the plant. The other thing is if you had a production change, a schedule change in what products you're going to run, think about all the rework, taking those trays back, peeling off labels, adding new labels. So our IT team partnered with our operations facilities, and we built machine learning-based models with computer vision, inference at the edge, in line where we had products coming down the line, again, chaotic line, different types of products, and we were accurately identifying what product it was and then sending automatic messages over to the auto labelers to apply that label. So it was impressive piece of work by the team, and it has been scaled across multiple plants, that solution has. Other examples include product ID for inventory accuracy, and as Balaji mentioned, our team members are top priority for us, and particularly their safety, and that's especially true in our operations facilities. And we have made use of static and dynamic geofencing technology to improve the safety environment. So for instance, static geofencing, if you're not familiar with geofencing, I'm sure most of you are, it's like a digital fence, right? And just make use of machine learning in many cases, but think about putting a static geofence over the top of a piece of equipment where if a human being was to put their arm in, it could be dangerous, right? And you can do all kinds of things when that digital fence is broken. You can send off alarms. You can record the event for training for later. Or you can actually have it connected to a PLC and shut down the equipment. Dynamic geofencing is tracking a moving target, right? In this case, it had to do with forklift traffic in an area that also has human traffic. And how do we make sure that we're capturing close calls so we can retrain our team members by use of dynamic geofencing? So it's been pretty exciting, and all of this has to do with a lot of data. We know that ML models require a ton of data, whether it's images or whatever it is. And then, of course, there's all the advanced analytics, Balaji, that we can glean insights as we apply that to our data. Do you want to talk about some of the advanced analytic work?
Well, on this slide, Adam, if you can just stay
Sure.
for 1 second. So three things, right? On the tech for sake of tech. So I lead the emerging tech group, and they are a group of extremely smart developers on the team working on some very complex problems. Where it's very tempting to go just after tech and tech and tech and tech, we make a very deliberate choice to start with the business problem. So that's one thing that I thought I make very clear here is that it's business first and business problem first. The second point on this slide is around MLOps platform. So we use every such emerging technology opportunity to see if we can scale it across the enterprise. So we use this example to ensure that we built an MLOps platform across the enterprise that you can put other problems on. So it's not just about build once and throw it away. It's about build once and ensure that it scales and stays for a long time. And the third thing is around, so to build geofences, especially using computer vision and whatnot, there's a lot of dependence on core foundational infrastructure in our plants. So we're doing a lot of work across the board to ensure that the infrastructure and foundational aspects keep pace with the pace of innovation. So I just thought I'd mention that because there's a lot of dependence on good networks, a lot of dependence on data movement. You did speak about data and advanced analytics. We started our cloud journey about 6-7 years ago, and I can tell you that the fact that we moved to the cloud and built cloud-native analytics and data platforms is setting a huge stage for us to be able to build advanced analytics on top of. So, we should probably tag team on this one, Adam, but we'll start with supply chain. I think we do a ton of advanced analytics works to ensure that we have deep level observability into our supply chain. We work with some of the most innovative advanced analytics companies in the world. We are on the biggest cloud providers in the world doing our app development as well as core and advanced analytics. Supply chain is a key area we're looking at to help AI and advanced analytics drive some value. Do you want to talk about supply chain a little bit? So you have the data now?
Yeah, in the supply chain space, there have been a number of areas we focused on. One is demand forecasting uplift and applying AI and advanced analytics to help us in that space, which is critical. Another is maximizing truckloads. And I'll just say on all of these, there are real business cases behind them. There's real value to be gained. In a lot of cases, when it comes to analytics projects, we say there are indirect benefits, like it helps with improved speed of decision and better informed decisions. But we've actually built into some of these applications the ability to take action based off the insight. And we're able to capture then the dollar savings based off of the actions taken. So I'll tell you, these projects, when done right and you're solving real business problems, definitely pay for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on data in general, data is foundational to everything we do, like you spoke about. I think we have strong data governance mechanisms in place. Partnering with our security organization, we have data security mechanisms in place. And I think we treat data truly as an asset in the company. I can tell you that we deal with all kinds of internal as well as external data. We've got established patterns to bring in external data, ensure that they are married appropriately with internal data. And we truly build, especially on the contract management piece and pricing, we're working very hard to ensure that we bring these data sets together to provide the most competitive prices to our customers, right? Both on the left-hand side of the supply chain as well as on the far right-hand side of the supply chain. Do you want to talk a little bit about the pricing value adds and anything that you've seen in that area, Adam, from a business standpoint?
I'm actually not as familiar with that one, so I won't add anything else.
Okay, we should move to the next slide.
All right, that sounds good. Well, let's talk about automation. So we've talked a lot about data and digital capabilities. Now we're talking about physical automation. And particularly, I want to talk about automation in our plants. So Tyson's a big company. We have over 100 plants. Think about beef. We have pork, poultry, and prepared foods. And then we also have a number of plants in Asia and Europe. And Tyson has been in the automation business for many years. But often it's been done in pockets, right? So we'll have a problem that is thought to be unique in a particular plant, and that operations team will partner with a vendor, and they'll create a custom solution to solve that very specific need. The challenge we were given was, at Tyson, and our automation team was given, and by the way, as a quick aside, the automation team does have a booth here. Check it out. They have a collaborative robot. And we actually are utilizing collaborative robots in our plants, and they can tell you more about that. The challenge we were given was, how do we leverage Tyson's scale to automate at scale and get terms and conditions that are favorable for Tyson? And so what we did was we started with the big questions. What should we automate? Looking across our businesses. Now, often automation solutions were not only unique to a business, but unique to a plant within a business. We're looking across the businesses. What should we automate? who are the right partners for us? Where should we deploy specifically? Which plants are ready for to maintain and operate robotics, for instance? And how are we going to secure the funds? That's where the big question comes from a capital perspective, right? And should we lease? Should we do machine as a service? Should we just go after the capital and purchase the equipment? And then it's all about program delivery. So we went through a very methodical process to answer each of these questions. We started with opportunity analysis. Again, we started with data. We looked across all of our businesses and all the plants, and we looked at things like run rates, types of products they're running, product dimensions, payloads. And through all of that, you'll see here, this is titled Pack Out Automation on the subtitle. The reason is while in our plants there are very unique processes early on in the operation, because we're starting with a very different input, like a cow versus a hog versus a chicken. Mm-hmm. As you got toward the tail end, the end of line processes, they're getting more and more similar, because in every case, we're packaging a product, we're placing that product in a box, and that box goes on a pallet. And so that's where we saw a lot of similarities across our business. And we started to look for partners that could help us create standard solutions that could hit the highest volume of use cases across our plants. And we had some unique requirements too, because our environment's a bit unique. We have temperature fluxes. We have an entire shift in most plants dedicated entirely to sanitation. So there's water involved, which doesn't always play nice with robotics. And so what partners were willing to work with us to create standard solutions that would Tysonized, they could scale from a volume perspective. And also we were looking to negotiate based off the scale we were going to bring to them, the volume we were going to bring to the table. And we've got master service agreements in place based off those. Well, it's always good to look at the data and determine where the opportunities are, but you don't really know if it's going to work till you get feet on the ground. We sent teams over a 8-week period of time. We hit 40 plants that we thought were candidates for automation, and we validated things like, is there a mezzanine in the way, or is there enough space? We think there is, but let's confirm. And compact solutions were key when you think about the physical world, because whenever you're doing brownfield work, meaning in existing plants where they weren't necessarily designed for the equipment, space constraints is a reality. And we validated which ones we thought we could truly go after. We were also looking for operational readiness. Which plant teams do we feel were most ready, could either acquire the skills or skill up team members to maintain and operate robotic equipment. And once we got that done, we sold our leadership on the idea that this should be a program and started deploying. And we've deployed dozens now of automated case packers and palletizers and many more on the roadmap. And the key is standard solutions across our business units, which has never really happened in the past. So that was an exciting program, and it's still in flight, Balaji. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, as a company, we made some huge bets on advanced analytics and automation, and it's really great to see we put processes in place to scale this thing out. I think also a key call out is the partnership between IT, automation, and plant engineering that really made this happen as well.
100%.
Scale deployment is an area I'd like to speak to a little bit, is that it's easy to do it in one plant, but it's hard when you think of 100 plus plants to go do it at. I think the approach we've taken is do one, see value, do another, see value, do a third, see value. I think the incremental bite-sized chunked approach has really broken down the problem and made us able to go solve it one chunk at a time, I would say.
Yeah,
so,
that's good. I want to hear from you, because we've heard about it a lot this week already, and of course it's the trend is, you know what I'm talking about, right? Generative AI.
Yeah.
Because here's what I want to know, Balaji.
Yeah.
Is it for real, or is it a lot of hype? And if the parts that are real, where we're seeing benefits, how do we go forward in a way that you protect your company? Because there's a lot of concern too, right?
Yeah, I mean, the answer to your first question is it real or is it hype? I think it's a bit of both, but I think it's starting to be more real than hype. So as far as Tyson is concerned, we've been at this for the last almost now 1 year or so, since when ChatGPT came into the mainstream. Look, I mean, we have a Gen AI task force that's actively looking at use cases. We've deployed a few things already. We're starting to see some value. We're working on some aggressive team member-wide app deployments, which we'll share at the right time. But the point is that we have a strong point of view on what generative AI can bring to the table. And I can tell you that there are about 3 or 4 main areas that we're looking at Gen AI to really add value. So the first area is around how do you generate immersive web content experiences for our end consumers. There's active work underway with our marketing organization to understand how Gen AI can bring value on the web. The second area is around data interrogation. So think about the fact that we are now looking at an era where you still have dashboards and reports, but those are being significantly complemented by the ability to interrogate your data and talk to your data. Imagine instead of just looking at a chart or a graph, you're able to ask nuanced questions as to your data and get back very specific answers. We're seeing a lot of uptake in that area because we have our analytics transformation underway as a company, and having the ability to interrogate and ask specific nuanced questions to your data is a huge value driver. The third area we're seeing is around large document processing, especially in the procurement space or legal space, areas where they deal with huge amounts of documents and process huge amount of documents every day. Gen AI is starting to play a huge role in absorbing, imbibing all that content and being able to provide summarization, simplification, inferences, and helping with huge document processing. That's an area we are seeing huge uptake in. And we work with almost all big cloud providers on their models. We also work with a few other niche vendors to see which Gen AI piece brings us the best value. I will tell you, though, that we're still trying to figure out what the true cost of Gen AI end-to-end is. And I haven't yet met a single company that has done so. This whole notion of what is the compute cost of building a Gen AI model in-house versus sending your data outside, what the security implications are of either of these use cases. There is a huge amount of effort underway on the security aspect. We are very, 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 very clear that Tyson data is an incredible asset of ours, and we do not want this data compromised by any means. At this point, we are very cautiously optimistic about sending any of our data outside to any Gen AI models that reside outside the company. Our approach has been more bring the AI in as opposed to send our data out at this point. But look, it's an evolving discipline. It changes every day. But the positive thing, though, is that we are seeing a lot of interest from our business partners, from our executive team around, hey, what can AI do as a company? What can AI do to accelerate both top line as well as bottom line growth? And that's an extremely encouraging sign. I will say that beyond anything else that I have seen in the past, data science and generative AI is truly leading to IT and business teams converging on similar set of priorities. Because if you look at a traditional data scientist, you can't just be a data scientist. It's much better if you're a supply chain data scientist or a finance data scientist. I think the convergence between IT and business teams is starting to get very, very real. And we're doing a lot of work in Gen AI, I can tell you that. So, yeah.
Some of the use cases.
Yeah, I mean, I think I already
some
spoke
of them.
about, I hit on the analytics piece, I hit on the web piece. I do want to talk about the language translation aspect a little bit. I think we do business in 70 plus countries, Adam. So as we start to expand both domestically and internationally, as we grow both organically and inorganically, the ability to have seamless translation mechanisms across our online presence is starting to be a huge, huge value add. And Gen AI is playing a huge part. We are looking at deploying some Gen AI pieces in the APAC space to help with some translation requirements. They're still early days, but active work in that area.
Asia Pacific.
Asia Pacific, yeah.
Yeah, and many of our plants, we have many, multiple native languages spoken, maybe dozens within a single plant at times. And so translation within our operations facilities is a big deal as well. That's good. Anything you want to call out on the best practices?
Yeah, I touched upon a bit of this. Look, I mean, as with any other company, we have three basic dynamics at play when it comes to Gen AI, right? One is, hey, are we being left behind in the game? We have to do something, we have to do something, we have to do something. So we have an active, huge pipeline of use cases with a lot of interest from both IT and business. We are keeping security front and center of everything. I think our approach now is about let's bring AI in instead of sending our data out for the most part. And even if we do send data out, it will be through the most trusted partners, through very secure channels. And the third aspect that we are starting to really understand is, I think it's been said a lot, but it's about the fact that AI cannot replace a person, but a person that knows AI can replace somebody who does not know AI. So we're starting to see the fact that human in the loop at the right level in the process is a huge value add as opposed to not having AI at all. So the other area we're looking at is this whole aspect of AI explainability and transparency. We've engaged with several of our AI vendors on understanding, hey, can we work with you on AI explainability so that we can get more clarity on why an AI model is recommending whatever it's recommending. So I think that about sums it up, Adam. Yeah.
Well, before we jump, I think a Q&A is next. I just want to, and we both want to give a big shout out to our Tyson team, many who are here today. What we represented today is their brain power and their muscle, so huge thanks to the team. But we'll open up if you have any questions.
Please keep them coming because I think we got through our content a little earlier than we had anticipated, so we really love and appreciate it.
Countdown clock says we have 4 minutes.
Yeah.
We're good.
Do you see generative AI as potentially replacing menus, which are not too intuitive and expensive to maintain?
Do I see it replacing them now? No. But are we actively engaged in understanding how Gen AI can augment the incredible human creativity we have in that space? Absolutely, yes.
Thanks for the question.
Thanks, good one, thank you.
Heckling's okay too. I was just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. I'll repeat it. Go. Here it comes. Here it comes.
As most people know, I don't need a mic. But no, as we go forward with this technology, I mean, what do you think the adaptability will be?
Of team members to the technology?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a huge focus right now for many companies. For instance, at Tyson, we created a digital enablement office, and one of their primary goals is to drive digital literacy across the enterprise. And so that's very structured training, it's hands-on training, looking for early adopters. Part of it is to market the wins as we roll out digital capabilities and automation. So it's critical because we can have the greatest tech available, but if our team members don't feel confident enough to utilize it, it won't get us anywhere, right? Yeah. Great question, Janet. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I will just add to it by saying that the uptake of some of these training classes has been incredible. It's been in the hundreds and thousands of team members. So we do see a lot of interest in our team members trying to understand tech, and we really want to take advantage of it. So great question, Janet.
The other part I'll add there is, this goes back to what we said at the beginning. If we're solving problems that the business really cares about, then the adaptability gets a lot easier. It's not being force-fed, it's something they're pulling, right? Because you're helping them solve a big problem.
Yeah.
Adam and Balaji, thanks for taking the time. As technologists here, one of the leading companies in Northwest Arkansas, how are you thinking about recruiting? I know that, Walmart's investing in a new corporate office. Tyson is bringing your team members together here in Northwest Arkansas. So, what are the challenges to recruiting, and then how are you looking to address those?
One of them is that a lot of people around the world don't know what a beautiful place Northwest Arkansas is. I know some of you want to keep it that way. But getting the word out on that, when we're trying to recruit someone to the area, we will almost always bring them. Say, come spend the weekend, bring your significant other, check it out, because this is an awesome place. The outdoor activities, the growing, it's becoming more culturally enriched, the arts, the sports, of course. And once folks get here, they're often shocked. So because there is a location challenge. People think, Arkansas, I don't know. And I grew up in Oklahoma, so I'm just over the border, right? But for a lot of folks, this is foreign to them. But do you want to talk about some of the recruiting programs we have with universities?
Yeah, we have a lot of outreach programs to most universities around the area. And as we start talking about the work that we do in AI, automation, ML, and a few of these advanced tech areas, we are seeing a lot of interest in recruitment and candidates trying to apply for our jobs. To give you some data without disclosing too many numbers, the number of applicants we have for every open tech job has started to increase in the last 12 months. So we used to have like 5 applicants for one tech job. Now it's of the order of 75-ish applications for one emerging tech job. So we're seeing a huge amount of interest. And to Adam's point, if we fly people here in what we call preview trips and they spend a couple of days here, chances are that they really like the area and are willing to move. So we are seeing a lot of interest in the area and in Tyson. Thanks for the question.
And for me, I came from the tech industry, so a company that sold, our product was technology. So working for Tyson has been awesome because we feed the world, and it's a pretty cool mission. So just to be a part of something that impacts our daily lives multiple times a day. I don't know if you know this stat, but 1 out of every 5 pounds of protein on the plates of Americans is Tyson foods. So the scale is just significant.
Yeah, significant scale.
Okay, one more question maybe, if there is. Over here. She asked, what are we doing to train our AI at Tyson? I'll let you.
As in train our AI models? Yeah, I mean, I'll answer this in 2 parts. One is Gen AI models, LLMs, and non-Gen AI models. I think as far as non-Gen AI models, the traditional AI models are concerned, we have MLOps platforms in place across our cloud providers, and we train them based on existing processes that we already have over the last several years. As far as Gen AI is concerned, it's a great question. We're still trying to evaluate what's the best thing to do, because building your own LLM in-house is an expensive proposition. It's a very, very compute-intensive and even otherwise a very expensive proposition. We are experimenting with a few LLMs that we can bring in-house for specific nuanced use cases. But for the most part now, we are trying to evaluate usage of big established LLMs through trusted cloud providers where we send data in a secure way to them and then bring back inferences. But I don't have a number for you in terms of how exactly we train LLMs inside and what it would cost. That's an area of investigation, active investigation. I will tell you though that we are not the only ones in this quandary. Almost every company that I've spoken to is still trying to figure out that problem, is that how do we build our own LLMs in-house? Do we need to build LLMs in-house? Because my thinking on this matter is that if I look forward 3 years from now, 5 years from now, I do see LLMs being productized by probably 3 or 4 big providers. I don't see LLMs being built across the board like traditional AI models because it's very expensive, very compute intensive. So yeah, I haven't met anyone yet that said, okay, I have figured out how to build my own LLM and this is what it's going to cost. It's still being investigated. Until then, we trust our cloud providers.
For those that don't know what a large language model is, give a layman's definition. I know it's hard to do a layman because you're so technical. You know it inside and out.
Well, I'll try,
You're my
Adam.
go-to guy.
Well, we'll try. A large language model essentially, so ChatGPT is a form of an LLM. Essentially, an LLM is an AI model that's able to consume, absorb, synthesize large amounts of textual content and be able to generate responses in response to some questions. That's a layman
That's pretty
definition
good.
of an LLM.
Yeah, on the fly.
Thanks, Adam.
Good job.
I tried. So,
All right. Well, I think it says our time's up, so I think they're getting ready for the next one here. But thank you all. Appreciate it.
thank you so much.
Take care.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you guys. Yeah.